The night was heavy with silence, but Amina's heart was louder than any sound outside. She lay awake, her eyes fixed on the ceiling, the shadows crawling like memories she could not chase away. Sleep had abandoned her long ago, just as peace had, just as her husband had. The war had stolen him, left her a widow in her early 30s with a son too young to even remember the way his father's laughter once filled their home. Every day she lived was an act of survival, not because of bombs or hunger, but because of grief that pressed on her chest until she could hardly breathe. Her son was her only reason to keep going. Yet sometimes, in the quiet of the night, she wondered if even he deserved a stronger mother than the broken shell she had become. It was in one of those nights, sitting by the window while tears blurred her vision, that she noticed a flicker of light in the house next door. That house had been empty for months, abandoned after the old tenants moved away. Now, someone had returned. She watched, curious, until she heard from a neighbor the name of the man who had taken the house. Rafiq. The name hit her like a whisper from the past. He was not a stranger. He was her late husband's childhood friend, the boy who had played cricket with him in dusty streets, the young man who once shared his dreams. But life had carried them apart, and now it had carried him back, a soldier scarred by battles she could never imagine. Their first encounter was unexpected. Amina was struggling with the broken latch on her garden gate when he appeared, silent as the evening air, offering a hand. She had not seen him in years, and the sight was startling. His face bore scars, thin lines etched by shrapnel, shadows carved by loss. His eyes carried the weight of a man who had seen too much. He didn't speak much, only took the tools and fixed the latch with careful hands. She whispered her thanks, but he only nodded, a faint smile tugging at lips that seemed unused to joy. He walked away, but something lingered behind. Not a word, not a gesture, but a quiet reminder that she was no longer completely alone. Rafiq became a silent presence in her life. When the rain came and her roof leaked, she found him already climbing a ladder, hammer in hand. When her son cried over a broken toy, it was mysteriously fixed and waiting on the porch the next day. Her son, innocent and eager, took to him quickly, running across the small yards to call, "Uncle Rafiq." The sound of her child's laughter mixing with Rafiq's deep, reluctant chuckle filled Amina with an ache she could not name. It was a sound she thought she would never hear again, not after death had taken the man who used to make her home warm. Yet here it was, sneaking back into her life in the most unexpected way. But grief is a stubborn companion, and guilt is its sharpest blade. For every moment of relief she felt, Amina battled the whisper that told her she was betraying her late husband. How could she smile at another man? How could she let her son grow attached to someone who was not his father? And yet, she could not deny the comfort Rafiq's presence brought, the way his steadiness eased the constant weight she carried. He never asked for more, never intruded. He simply appeared when needed, disappeared when not, and somehow that quiet rhythm began to stitch her broken world together. For Rafiq, the struggle was no less. He carried the ghosts of war with him, ghosts that visited in nightmares, in sudden flashes of memory when loud noises shattered the night. He lived with the guilt of survival, the question of why he had returned when so many of his brothers in arms had not. Worse still, he carried the memory of the man who had once been his closest friend, the same man whose widow and son he now found himself drawn to. Each time he saw Amina's eyes, he was reminded of his own promise to his fallen friend, to look after his family if fate demanded it. But what he had not expected was the pull in his chest, the quiet longing he fought to bury. He could not, he told himself, allow those feelings. She deserved peace, not another broken soldier. The night everything changed was one of her lowest. Her son had cried himself to sleep, begging to know why his father never came home, and Amina, unable to soothe him, had sat on the kitchen floor and broken down. She whispered into the emptiness that she wasn't strong enough, that she couldn't do this anymore, that she was failing as a mother and as a person. She didn't know Rafiq had come to return a tool, that he had paused at the doorway when he heard her sobs. When she looked up, startled and ashamed, he did not speak right away. He simply stepped closer, his presence steady as a wall she could lean on. Then, in a voice rough with his own unshed pain, he said, You don't have to be strong every day. And if you can't, then I'll be strong for you. Those words unlocked something inside her. She cried openly then, allowing herself to lean against him, to let the dam of her grief burst. And for the first time in years, Rafiq allowed himself to hold another human being without reservation. He let her sorrow pour into him, and in return, he silently released some of his own, tears slipping down his scarred cheeks. Two broken souls, holding on to each other in the dark, finding a strange, fragile comfort. In the days that followed, their bond grew stronger. Rafiq became part of their daily life, not as a replacement, but as a presence that brought stability. He walked her son to school, repaired broken furniture, even cooked once when she fell ill. Amina, in turn, left tea by his door, mended his shirts, and listened quietly when he spoke in fragments about the war. There were no confessions, no grand gestures, only a growing understanding between them. Yet the unspoken wall remained. She feared stepping beyond loyalty to her late husband, and he feared betraying the memory of his friend. Their love grew in silence, buried beneath layers of guilt and hesitation. The test of their bond came one terrifying night. A fire broke out in the neighborhood, flames spreading quickly through the old, narrow houses. Smoke filled the air, neighbors screamed, and chaos erupted. Amina grabbed her son, trying to escape, but the fire cut off their path, trapping them inside. She banged against the door, panic flooding her chest, when suddenly the door burst open and Rafiq charged through the smoke. He covered the boy with his jacket, scooped him into his arms, and guided Amina through the choking haze. His body shielded them, his strength carrying them through the burning chaos until they reached safety outside. The moment they emerged into the night air, coughing and trembling, Amina looked at him, and something inside her broke. Not the loyalty she held for her husband, but the wall she had built around her heart. She saw Rafiq's trembling hands, his face streaked with ash, his eyes filled not with fear for himself, but for her and her son. Without thinking, she cupped his face and whispered, "I can't lose you too." In his silence, in the way his forehead pressed against hers, she felt his answer. Their love did not blossom in fireworks or declarations. It unfolded slowly, in the way he held her son's hand at the market, in the way she waited for him to come home after long walks, in the way their eyes lingered longer than words allowed. They never erased the memory of the man they had lost. Instead, they built around it, honoring him by choosing life, by choosing to heal together. The seasons shifted, and with them, the house once echoing with grief became a place of laughter again. Amina learned that healing did not mean betrayal, that love could bloom even after death, not as a replacement, but as a continuation of life's story. Rafiq learned that survival did not have to mean loneliness, that scars did not erase the possibility of joy. They built a family not defined by what was lost, but by what was found in the ruins. And together, they carried a message that grew stronger with every passing day. Love does not erase pain, but it gives it meaning. Grief does not end, but it softens when shared. And sometimes, the heart is not betraying the past when it chooses to love again. It is honoring it by refusing to stop beating.